Hi, I'm Robert Curbeam, former NASA astronaut, and thank you so much for the invitation to speak at this event. My experience in space encompasses three missions, one in 1997, one in 2001, one in 2006. First mission was a science mission to study upper atmospheric science, astronomy, and earth science. And we also did a little biology and combustion science. And then my last two missions were to help build the International Space Station, where I did 7 spacewalks and installed the United States laboratory on the station, and also installed the P5 truss and rewired all the electrical on the outside of the station. So I've had a very blessed career. Very happy to share a little bit about that career with you. Um, I was asked to talk about the three big questions, we call them the big three, that most people ask. And the first one that people ask about spaceflight is, what does it feel like? And it's a pretty incredible feeling. Launch is like being rear-ended by an 18-wheeler. The only difference is that 18-wheeler just keeps on pushing for about 8.5 minutes until you get up to orbital velocity. The first 2 minutes of launch are very, very shaky and I'm talking about a shuttle launch now, which we don't do anymore, obviously, but the first 2 minutes are very, very shaky because the solids impart a lot of vibration into the system. But once they pop off, the space shuttle system with just the tank and the orbiter is very, very smooth. It was an incredible ride to orbit all three times, and I thoroughly enjoyed that. And then the incredible thing about it is the last 2 minutes you undergo 3G throttling, which means you have 3Gs into your chest, where breathing is no longer involuntary. You have to think to breathe. And then all of a sudden, the engines throttle back and cut off when you hit your range velocity point, and everything starts floating. And from then on, the adventure begins. It's an absolutely incredible feeling. The view's incredible. Everything about the experience is pretty mind blowing. And all you do is you just wish you could bring all your friends with you to share it. Um, I would say the next biggest question is, how do you go to the bathroom? Go to the bathroom in shuttle was pretty unique. Of course, when you're here on land, or on Earth, I should say, it's all about gravity. Gravity is the one thing you need to make your toilet work, to make everything work about going to the bathroom. And what's the one thing you don't have when you're on space shuttle? Gravity. So it's kind of interesting that first time. I will say the body has to get used to actually going to the bathroom in 0G. But going number one is pretty natural. It's the same for everybody. You have basically a wet back, and the key to going to the bathroom in space, on shuttle anyway, was every time you would use gravity here on Earth, we use airflow. So if you're going to go number one, you grab your funnel, you snap it onto the wet back, and you go. And the suction from the vacuum basically takes all of your urine away from you. But if you have to go number two, it's a little bit different. First of all, you want to control where it's going and where it stays. So and also where you're going and where you stay. So the first thing you have to do is you have to kind of strap yourself in. And we had little restraints that would hold us down against the toilet seat, because if you didn't, obviously you'd just float off of it, and nobody wants that. But then airflow comes out of the seat and then down into the bowl, and that's to pull your stuff away from you. It works okay, not bad, but uh, but it does work, and that's great. Now the next thing you have to do once it gets in there is you have to close the bowl, obviously, because you don't want any of it to get out. But you have to get rid of the smell. And the engineers came up with a really, really cool way of getting rid of the smell. What they did was they had a little vacuum line that goes from the bowl into the vacuum of space, and that would open up after you closed up the bowl. And what that did was that would cause all of the water in your stuff to basically freeze, and then after that it would vaporize, turn to steam, and then go out. And the interesting thing is, As anybody who has a dog knows, that once the stuff is no longer wet, it doesn't stink very much. So that's how they got rid of the smell, and the system worked very, very well. And that was one of probably the biggest jobs on shuttle, making sure that that thing was maintained, the toilet was maintained and maintained well. The last question that everybody has is, were you scared? And I tell them, no, not at all. And I don't think most astronauts are scared. Most astronauts are excited. You've trained for so long and so hard that when the day comes, you're ready. And you're ready for one very, very important reason. The people on the ground, the trainers, people in mission control, they are true professionals. And it is one of the few jobs you will ever have in your life where there are literally thousands of people looking out for your safety every minute of the time. And that gives you a tremendous amount of confidence. And the training that the people, they're world-class trainers that are there at NASA. The training that they give you is so good that it gives you a confidence that you can go out there and do your job. And so no fear at all of the mission. The only thing you're afraid of when you go up into space is doing a bad job. Nobody wants to do a bad job, and nobody wants to be on national television when they do a bad job. So that is the only fear I ever had, and I think that's pretty consistent with everything, with everyone else. Um, the next question was about the surprise, the biggest surprise I had as an astronaut. And I would say just how captivating the view is. The view is absolutely incredible from space. It is an experience unlike any other, and it's just captivating. I would spend, especially my first flight, if I had any time off, which you usually don't have a whole lot of time off, when you do, you just spend the whole time looking at the Earth. It's just so incredibly beautiful. Got to see lightning ripple down a weather front for 300 miles. See a dust storm across the Sahara that's 100 miles wide. It was just incredible. You fly through the aurora boreal, or the aurora australis, actually, is what we flew through on my first mission, and the views were incredible. The aurora is probably the most beautiful thing I've seen off the planet, and to actually be up at the same altitude, to fly through them, have it fly you through you sometimes, was really, really a treat, and I'll never ever forget that. And the great thing about it is all this entire experience, everything I'm telling you about, was enabled through people who pursued careers in education in STEM. Science, technology, engineering, and mathematics make space programs happen. And we need more people to go into these fields. It's that important. And if all of us gives a little, the effect we can have will be a lot. I am very, very blessed to be chairman of the board of Challenger uh, Centers for Space Science Education. And each year, that organization puts literally thousands of children through an experience that makes them excited about space and excited about STEM careers and subjects. And that's what we're trying to do today, too. We're trying to enable an organization, Space Camp, that makes people excited about STEM careers and education, because it can be exciting. It is exciting. And it enables us to do absolutely incredible things. So I'd like to thank you for this opportunity to speak, and I am very much looking forward to your questions and your follow-up. Thanks again.